Welcome back one more time for
Everyone.
21 days breaking through your matrix programming. Today is the 21st day. You've made it. One more time here, guiding you through energy training lessons with Jona, Bryndis.
And Jeff Casper.
And at this point, I want to thank transCODES for providing the resources here to be able to produce this free energy training video series for you. So this is why we promote some of the transCODES services here during those training videos, simply because it plays directly into what we're teaching here. I want to welcome everybody here for joining and watching us, the edited videos available on the YouTube channel, and also the wonderful emails that we received. We did not receive an audio video recording yet, but wonderful emails and testimonials from you guys, sharing your experiences during these 21 days with us. We're going to put them all together for you. Awesome. Yes, thank you, Shri, for your welcome, for your feedback here.
Yes.
This was our intention with these live videos, to produce not only a course, that's something we've already done, but to go into interaction and to lay out the structure. As you can now see, after nearly 15 hours of energy work and breaking things down, the mechanisms that we're up against, if we look at really at all the physical, emotional, mental, social, behavioral, spiritual and energetic factors that play in, then we realize how complex our life truly is. And yesterday we looked at a very important part of that, namely owning our life, owning our part in the program, in the pattern, but at the same time also reclaiming it back so that we can be in charge of our life, so that we don't feel this constant bombardment coming in from the collective energies or collective matrix, as we all call it. Yes, thank you for your gratitude, guys. Yes. This is what drives us. All right, so keep posting testimonials or a short video or audio message that we can add to this last video here, what this training can do for people, or just simply your experience during those 21 days with us. Yes, and this is quite a journey. Yesterday, we went through some of the aspects of these ego addiction patterns that are invisible for us. They're basically our blind spots, all right? And so after having gone through all this, I really want you to understand that this is not a matter of you not being able or not being good enough, but it's a matter of you training your perception in that way with these strategies that we've suggested that allow you to become more confident and empowered to navigate through the unknown, through change. And you're looking at a picture here right now, an inspirational picture that says, "Come to the edge," he said. And they said, "We are afraid." "Well, come to the edge," he said. And they came, and he pushed them, and they flew. This is, in a nutshell, the energy that we want to transport with these energy training lessons that empower you to see that the matrix programming is something that will always be there, okay? And it will go up and down, it will shift and transform over the years, over the centuries, over the millennia, as it has before us. But when it comes to our ability to navigate through this and to liberate ourselves from the things that don't work for us, or that are not true to us, or that are not congruent to us, it depends on our ability to make a stance for our own being, for inhabiting our own being. We learned yesterday when we dove deep into the energetic mechanics of interaction, how much of our energy and our susceptibility to collective energies depends on our ability to truly stand in our center and to fill up that space with our true self. And so we've examined all these different aspects that play into this. And as we looked at all these different perspectives, the mental, the emotional, the physical as well, the spiritual, and some of the social factors that play into this, we discovered quite a few things. So in these 21 days, we navigated you through how you can become more real with yourself, how you can connect with your inner heart, mind navigator. You are, after all, not just a computer, you are an energetic being. And the new paradigm of seeing or perceiving yourself as an integrative being that we've tried to introduce to you here means that you are not just a culmination of programs and patterns as it may have looked like here a few times when we broke it down to these individual factors and operators involved. No, you are not just that. The matrix is what makes you believe that sometimes, and it distances you and disconnects you from that core divine part in you, which we describe as our heart's navigator, the part in us that shows us the way into our divine creation energy, and with it, of course, also the manifestation of our true purpose, of our higher vibratory goals. And so going through the lessons, guys, we've walked you through turning your intentions into devotion, overcoming resistance and control, choosing to become real, accepting your limitations, learning to trust in your inner higher power, merging with the observer in you, developing courage and fearlessness. We taught you the energetic mechanics at work within yourself and in conjunction with others. We showed you ways how you can discern better vibrational or higher vibrational choices in your life. We showed you how to reframe what you cannot love about yourself and how important that is on this journey. We went through detaching from our reactivity, reconciling with masculine and feminine energies within, experiencing higher vibratory states. We even went as far as trying to show you what it can feel like when you actually in these places. Then we guided you through the discovery of what truly drives you, and how some of these blind spots are so deeply ingrained in your being that it is practically impossible for you to see them, and to develop compassion for yourself. We went through the basic strategy of out-vibrating pain, addiction, and victimhood, which is ingrained in all of us through the collective matrix. We worked on how to break through the karmic wheel, or just to get a better or broader understanding of karma. Then we showed you how you can actually internalize your inner self-healing powers and begin to trust in them. Then we introduced the art of shifting your energy as the major tool in moving towards healing and inner self-healing. And the last two lessons, we showed you how to transcend the mind and how to overcome some of these blind spots and begin to fully own your life. So that was actually quite a journey here. And now we get to this place where we have to ask ourselves how we want to put this into action. How do we want to walk the talk now? What is it that is holding us back? We've already illuminated this. So many of you have had quite a few revelations here. But what is it now that we need to move on and actually allow change and really sort of go into this place of embracing the new. And the missing ingredient, as I called it yesterday, is the part in us that first of all has to accept change as a constant in our life. It is the ego that refuses or resists or fights change, and that is what creates a lot of our inner dualism and the inner conflicts and contradictions that we feel. It basically creates the struggle internally and externally. But we've also learned, how important it is to not fall for the external validation of all of this, which means we have to begin to trust in this inner navigator in the future if we want to get better, or say a more efficient and happier while we are adjusting to change, and therefore allowing evolution into our life, allowing the improvement, the enhancement, the enrichment into our life that we're all looking for. We all came here ultimately because we are looking for more purpose, and we're trying to find our purpose. But what we've discovered on the way of this search is that we haven't found ourselves yet. And if we have, then we still have issues with accepting what we found, with truly loving all parts of us. To find purpose in life means to find self-healing, to activate the inner self-healer in you, all right, that can deal with any dissonance, with any disharmony, with any imbalance, with any struggle or any external factor that comes in, just as a form of energy, just as a matter of shifting your energy, just as a matter of out vibrating it. And once more, it's not about meditating things away. Don't get me wrong. This is a very hands-on approach that we are introducing to you here. The meditation tools and these higher vibratory tools or strategies that we've illuminated here are not there for you to just be able to do more projection or go into fantasy land with some of your life's challenges. No, on the contrary, we've showed you yesterday how dangerous it is to go into this place of fantasy and to trying to use or misuse your energetic sensitivity or your energetic abilities for creating sort of a different kind of picture. Every time you use your projection abilities to do that, you are basically in your ego projection, and with it caught in your ego's perception. And we've talked a great deal about how your ego perception is directly linked into matrix programming. Mm-hmm. And so if your goal is to liberate yourself from the limitation of the matrix around you, the collective energies around you, then your job is to become your own healer and to really mend and amend these things in you, these parts in you that you cannot fully love about yourself, that you perceive as flaws, that you perceive as mistakes, that you try to hide, that you create this whole entire ego story around, that creates all these coping mechanisms, that creates all these blind spots, and so forth. So we went through this with you here in detail, and I just one more time want to put up one of these infographics here that are sponsored from the Sacred Self-Healing course, namely the summary of all the different strategies that we've learned and when to apply them. So to give you sort of the last how, when it's time, when do you have to align yourself to what kind of resonance or what kind of healing medicine that has to come from within. And it honestly doesn't matter where you start, but we can start at 11 o'clock here again and look at how we've built the structure here of this video training course, namely with connecting. So we start with connecting within, and as we do this, we begin to learn how to release things, how to, not maybe in the practical yet, but at least sort of within yourself, we begin, to feel when energies can leave us. And we've introduced the I am breathing technique for you as an enhanced form of deep breathing. And then we have learned how to accept things, how to accept things the way they are, and to align ourselves to truth, to really aligning all that we see to what it truly is and not how we want it. And then we've showed you how this alignment process needs to happen. It's not just a matter of your mental intention, all right? There's a part of your intention that plays into this, but alignment really has to happen through the things that you've already done at this point, namely connecting within and releasing some of these stored or absorbed energies that we are all exposed to on a daily level. And then you have to learn how to discern truth. It's not enough just to know that, yes, you want to become an integrous person, you want to live in truth. That's not enough. You've got to learn how to better discern it, because if you were able to fully discern truth in the past, then you wouldn't have developed these blind spots. So we have to not only accept outer things the way they are, but also our inner limitations, namely that our perception can be faulty, and that it most likely is. That's an assumption that worked really well for me, to just assume that I may be in my ego perception right now, but not as means of double guessing myself or doubting myself, but as a means of really focusing on my inner feeling in regards to the situation or myself and what I'm truly feeling about this. So that's where the discernment aspect shows us that it's not enough to just want truth. We also have to practice how to identify truth, basically. And the only truth detector that is operating in most of us is a detector that comes from our ego survival mechanisms and not from our heart. So the next thing then, once we realize how many times we actually have been caught in our ego perception, is to disrupt the patterns that we've detected here, the faulty perception. And we don't need to know the fix. We don't need to know the answer. All we need to have is the determination, really, to not want to engage in the same old, in the same dysfunctional or disharmonic patterns that we have in the past. So it is then we become basically code breakers, by practicing on our own to disrupt all the ongoing programs that are there. And that requires a lot of courage and fearlessness, and we have to overcome the fear of the unknown, the fear of loss. And sometimes this process is connected with loss. So we also got to learn how to deal with this better and not avoid it or cope with it. And then we need to develop a discipline, a daily discipline that allows us to silence our mind and to turn down the volume of this inner chatter that keeps on pulling us back into the ego story. And then probably the part where most people spend the majority of their journey is letting go. Learning how to let go, but not to just cut it off or detach from it or pretend that we don't care, but to let things go in love and to agree to fully letting them go. And after the letting go is basically nothing left for a moment. There's a little bit of a vacuum. There's a very vulnerable state where all we can really do is trust, learn how to trust in our higher power, and learn how to allow things to unfold, to give things more space, to align to some of our feminine traits, and really give things space, give the child space to grow. This new creation energy that we are aligning to. And then, of course, comes the correction phase, where we have to look at the feedback. We have to look at, like, wait a minute, it's all fine and dandy, but this new part in me is still a little wobbly, makes a lot of mistakes here and there, is not very graceful. That's all right. So you accept that too. That it's a constant process of adjusting and correcting. And not correcting in the punitive sense, but correcting in the enhancement and the improvement sense. And then we get to this place where we really begin to understand that once we surrender ourselves to this, then there's a self-propelling energy that begins to support us. Synchronicities, things happen in our life that actually begin to work for us. And instead of focusing on conspiracy theories and how the matrix is working against you, you're now beginning to feel like almost a conspiracy theory for you. So energies are starting to conspire to actually support you and to make things happen for you out of nowhere. And then is still the part here that requires us to fully dedicate to this new way of being, this new way of living, and new way of understanding ourselves. And that requires us to own all our parts. To say, yes, I can see this now. I couldn't see this before. I own all that. I even own the things, the little mistakes or the little adjustments that I have to make in my growing process. In fact, I'm not just owning them, I embrace them. And here comes the missing ingredient, the missing piece. Why this is all so hard for us. And yes, on the graph here you see heart consciousness, which is the general place of our journey that we are at this time of development and being present. But this part that is needed now at this level or stage of seeing yourself is devotion. It's the devotion to yourself, the devotion to loving your life, to embracing this entire cycle, to wanting to become a co-creator of your life, of your future, of everything that you experience. It is the sacred ingredient. It is the sacredness of your journey. The humility, the bliss, the beauty, and the wonder, the miracles that are possible when you arrive at that place. Anyone who's ever experienced the miracle, like say of a baby being born, or something really extremely beautiful happening in their lives, knows what I'm talking about. It is that place in you where you just completely and utterly overwhelmed by the beauty of the miracle. And this is how you turn your intention from purpose into devotion. This is how you move your entire being from determination into devotion, into a life full of miracles. And at this place, you almost become used to miracles, and you begin to trust in them so much that you really don't struggle with any of these other things, at least not for a prolonged amount of time, simply because you have developed so much muscle memory in these different energy training methodologies that you just simply do it. And you remember that you have to simply just shift your energy. And all you need is to arrive at a place of courage and empowerment, because then your energy is starting to expand and starting to basically log on to the divine Wi-Fi, if you will, that now provides you with information, with higher guidance, with inner promptings, with synchronicities, and sometimes even true self-interventions, things that suddenly happen in your life that steer you into the right direction, that show you these new options and these new choices right in front of you. So the sacredness of your journey is the part that links you back to the beginning, to your sacred heart, to the space, the safe space, the sacred space within you that is connected to the divine at all times. And it doesn't matter if you call it divine or source or universe, you can use these words interchangeably. We're trying to make it as neutral as possible. And yet, when we use the word universe, it doesn't fully hit it for me, because the sacredness really implies that there is a higher order in place. There is a divine order, if you will, that drives and that propels everything, that creates. And there's a multitude of energetic laws that we understand and that we know that come to play here. But one thing I really want to make clear for you that helps you to know when you are actually in this place of not being caught in the matrix anymore, practically, that tells you that you have red-pilled yourself. And that is when you begin to feel that things are converging. There is an energy propensity here in our universe, and you may have heard this. It's called entropy. And that is the energy that drives everything apart, that makes everything radiate out, that creates chaos. But then there's also an energy dynamic that's called syntropy, and that's the opposite. And that is where everything converges to the one big center of centers, the divine purpose in all. And the divine purpose in all uses evolution, uses constant improvement, constant correction, feedback, and constant adjustment as its mechanics. So you know that you are in a place of being fully tuned into the purpose of your life. With the right alignment, when you begin to feel the convergence of all your energies and the coherence with your heart, with everything that you do, that you feel, that you think, that you say. And in simpler words, it basically means when you can feel love, the presence of love, the presence of light, the presence of truth, the presence of this divine purpose in you with everything that you do, how you see yourself, how you see others. This doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything. This doesn't mean that you can't choose to do things in a way that they are sort of more aimed at something, that like say you want to accomplish in the short term. But on the long term, guys, and the purpose that you are looking for is already in you. And syntropy, which expresses through heart coherence, means that you are actually not moving forward in time, that you not actually have to move toward your purpose. That if you can let go of your push into the future, then the future can actually pull you in because it already exists within you. The ego mind is what makes it impossible for you to see this. Your heart and your heart mind's navigator is what allows you to trust in this and to go from there and begin to experience miracles in your life on a daily basis. Yes, and thank you guys for sending these wonderful greetings from everywhere in the world. This is wonderful. New Zealand, Australia, London, Denmark, Canada, just to name a few here, a few from the United States. So this is when you know that you are connected with your purpose. And the how is by aligning yourself to the sacredness of all of this that can be found in your sacred heart. So for us here, the lesson really of breaking through matrix programming, as you could tell, is not so much about fighting against what's on the outside, but more so learning how to adjust and how to shift with it and to embrace the process step by step, to give this the space within you that is needed for you to adjust, to not judge yourself, and to really go with the winds of change as they occur. Facing the winds of change means when the roaring winds of change are blowing into your face, to stay calm and to feel how you become real. When your ego is kicking and screaming, to embrace it and to know that this is showing you that you are evolving. When the fear is trying to take over, to know how to breathe through it and to remember that you have a choice. And last but not least, when your heart is aching, to remember to love yourself regardless and to shine your light within where it's most needed. This is the energy lesson for this last day here, and the energy work technique that is linked to this is now the culmination of all of the things that we've taught you. And as you have noticed before, we have mentioned this a few times, there is an entire course that is created for this, which consists of these different lessons in 24 steps. There are a few more lessons that we did not share with you here, simply because they cannot really be taught. They have to be experienced, and this is why we use energy work for the transportation of these lessons, okay? So energy work allows us to link in to these parts in us that the ego cannot detach from or cannot access. So we're bypassing the body, we're bypassing the mind and our emotions and even our belief system, and go onto the deepest core level of our programming. This does not diminish us as energetic beings or spiritual beings. On the contrary, it's so many times, you know, as a scientist, I've experienced this, that the deeper I dove into the microcosm of a subject, the more sacredness and divinity I discovered. And it is the same here with our energetic makeup.
Yes.
And some of these programs and patterns that, or the mechanics that we shared with you here, as we trained ourselves to see this and to contextualize this, we begin to see the sacredness in it all. And so we offer a energy work training that can be done in a self-training method, just like this video course here through the Sacred Self-Healing Program and community, or in a personalized training program called the Heart Warrior Program. This is where we actually guide a person or stand with a person for 3 months and actually work through this entire cycle here with a person individually.
Yes.
Yeah. And this concludes our day 21 of 21 days only to point us back to the beginning. And if you have the time, then go back to the beginning and start over again. But this time with a whole different understanding of the larger context. And see how everything that we started out with can be seen in a completely different light now. Yes. There's a lot of hope. And the hope is not coming in from your mind or from fantasizing. The hope is coming in from your empowerment. It's coming in from you feeling the courage now, from you feeling that yes, you can inhabit this. You can fully claim this for yourself now. That's where the hope comes from.
And know this continues. It'll get stronger and stronger, and you'll feel it more from within yourself as you go.
So thank you, everybody, for watching this. It was wonderful to spend these days with you. If you would like to work with us in person, please contact us at transcodes.com or look at our website. We have ongoing energy sessions, energy training sessions in groups that makes it a little cheaper for the participants, or individual sessions a la carte at any time, but also these various programs that we offer. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.